Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Privacy Snapshot, where we discuss trending privacy news and practical privacy tips. And today we have Dell Skivington with us. And Dale is certainly a luminary in our field of privacy and data protection and brings to us a wealth of knowledge from her long tenure in this field. So for those of you who are new to this field, I think you'll really benefit from her perspective on what she's learned really works in terms of driving change, privacy culture, and an organization. So Dale, actually you started your tenure in employment law and then transitioned to privacy, where you were chief privacy officer at Kodak and then at Dell for many years. So today you're going to share with us your views on the importance or the value, I think, of integrating privacy into an integrated compliance infrastructure or framework, and the value that brings to the privacy program overall, and how it can really help your strategic objectives with privacy. So I'm going to turn it over to you to share with us how that happened in your organization and the value that it brings.
Thanks, Teresa. One thing I noticed when I went to Dell was that from an ERM perspective, enterprise risk perspective, there was a lot of attention being given by the senior leadership to operational risks, to strategic risks, to financial risks, but compliance risks were embedded into the legal risk framework. And oftentimes those compliance risks, because they were put together with litigation risks and M&A risks, didn't get the top level attention that I felt it needed. So one of the things I did was I worked with the chief risk officer, head of audit, to create a new framework for compliance risks. And what we did was we created the Global Compliance Forum. We brought together all the risk owners of the various risks like antitrust, anti-corruption, trade compliance, HSE, Sarbanes-Oxley, you name it. We had 11 identified work streams. And what we did was we did our own annual risk assessment. We invited the head of audit to that assessment. So the head of audit could actually hear how those risks played out, how we viewed as a compliance community that those risks would correlate against each other, where we felt for the company the biggest risks were. We did some cross mitigation plans. So let's say, for example, an IT control would have been helpful. An example of that would have been bringing on a third party. We took all the risks who had onboarding issues like trade compliance, like anti-corruption compliance and privacy, and instead of in our silos worked that risk and worked with IT separately, we combined it and therefore got a lot of benefit from working together, but also a lot of kudos from the business in not creating separate work streams and separate projects for them.
That's such an interesting point, because I think the business does get very overwhelmed by all these asks coming from so many different places. So integrating privacy into the broader compliance framework, broad efficiencies, I think, heard you say also driving those issues to the very top level. So it got that, the attention that it needed. What would you, so you worked for large organizations, Dell, if you think about a smaller organization or mid-tier organization, how could you adapt that concept, do you think, for those who are, don't maybe have the benefit of some of the resources that come with a larger enterprise?
Yeah, well, I think this is really not a resource-intensive suggestion. Really what it is getting your issues at the right level. So, what you really want to do is you want to be sure you're aligning with the processes that already exist. So maybe you don't have an ERM process, but you do have an annual risk assessment process that's being done either in the legal department or an audit. As the Chief Privacy Officer, what you want to do is make sure that that your issues are being considered at the right level, that they're not coming in like through an aggregated issues list in IT or in legal, and therefore not getting the right level of attention by the senior leadership team. So it's a discussion with your. I would start with audit. They usually have a really good idea of where this issue is being introduced to the leadership team. Sometimes it's coming from the outside, from your outside auditors, and the outside auditors are giving your leadership team information about what's happening out in the community as high risk. It may not be at all the risks you have as a Chief Privacy Officer for that enterprise. Your biggest risk might be third party, not cybersecurity, for example.
I think that's an excellent tip. And for those of you listening in, we're going to have a follow-up privacy snapshot drilling down into that the area of audit and how you can really leverage audit as part of your ongoing privacy compliance infrastructure. So Dell, thank you for this high-level tip, and we at Blue Sky Privacy are here to support you in your privacy compliance goals. So reach out to us for further information. Dell, thank you, and stay tuned for a follow-up with Dell Skivington.